Hi, welcome back to Enjoying the Word. And in this video, I just want to share with you a suggestion. It's not a requirement, it's not a rule, it's just a suggestion. But some people find this really helpful. If you don't worry about it. But if you do, be sure to pass it on to others who may also benefit from this suggestion. The suggestion is to separate. Let me explain before you misapply that suggestion. Let me explain the problem and then the suggestion to solve the problem. Here's a calendar from January through to December across the top of the screen. And typically, or often, people will try to read through the Bible in a calendar year. So January comes, New Year's resolution, let's go for it. And they dive into their Bible reading. And it goes pretty well. To begin with, January and Genesis is good time, right? There's action, there's narrative, there's a whole lot of stuff going on, and you're reading it, you're studying it, you're trying to make sense of it, you're applying it to your life. All the stuff that you're trying to do is good stuff. You get into Exodus. First half of Exodus is great. But then the second half of Exodus, it just seems to lose or steal a bit of your joy. It feels like the momentum is lost. Suddenly it's lists of laws and instructions for building the tabernacle, and Leviticus is, instructions about festivals and offerings and so on. Something that seems to start so well in January can fade really fast in February. Okay, by Valentine's Day, a lot of people lose their love for Bible reading. Part of the reason for that is that they're kind of stuck in Exodus, Leviticus. And where do they want to be? They want to be in, John or Philippians or something like that. But where do those come in the year? Well, you're probably going to get to John and then sort of Philippians somewhere towards the end of the year. And it feels like an awfully long way away. Here I am in February, I'm struggling, I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm trying to make the most of this, I'm trying to understand what's going on, and the bits that I want to be in are months away. And so people will often kind of hit a brick wall here and put their Bibles down. And what a shame that is. Instead of enjoying the Word for all of its richness, it's getting put down and gathering dust again. If that's a frustration that you've experienced, here's my suggestion. You may find it frustrating to read and study at the same time. If so, separate them. You see, what we find ourselves doing is we've got to keep reading to keep up the pace to get through the Bible in a year. But the stuff we're reading, we're trying to study, and it's not really making a whole lot of sense. Which wife is this now for Abraham, and what's going on here, and what's the difference between that offering and that offering? And we get kind of caught up in the detail while needing to maintain the pace, but actually we're kind of doing neither. And so if instead you separate them, you say, okay, I'm going to be reading, I'm going to read, and I'm not going to worry about studying the detail, I'm just going to keep moving. I'm going to read in my reading time, just enjoy it, just allow the water of the Word of God to wash over me. But then I'm going to take separate time and I'm going to study. And in my study time, I'm going to pore over details. I'm going to dig into it. I'm going to look up resources and references and whatever. I'm going to do whatever I can to fully grasp the depths of what I'm looking at. And so if you take the time that you have and you separate that time into two, or even do it at separate times in the day, I don't know, whatever works for you. But if you take some of your time and you just read, don't worry about the details. When you get a list of names, just say, oh, there's a list of names. Scan down it, keep moving. That's okay. You don't have to memorize every detail. You don't have to study every fine nuance as you're reading. In reading, you just keep reading. Just enjoy it. But then, in the other time that you take, study, dig in, really get to grips with it and allow it to really get to grips with you. Excuse me, what you'll find is that the reading will wash you. The Word of God will wash over you, and it will be a really wonderful experience instead of a frustrating one. And the study time will be a really enriching experience because you're studying and benefiting from the depths of what's there in front of you without the pressure to move on. You can take your time. And so there's my suggestion. If you want to make the most of your reading and you're studying, separate them out from each other. Don't try and squeeze them together and feel the pressure. Instead, separate them and enjoy both. Thanks for watching. See you soon.